drunk drivers should be imprisoned on their first offense. Her first supporting claim is that drunk drivers put other people on the road in danger. Her second supporting claim is that imprisoning a drunk driver on their first offense will encourage them to not commit the same crime. Her third claim is if a drunk driver is not imprisoned at their first offense, then they will think that they can just get away with it with a warning. There is no argument that Brianna's first claim is true. She states that drunk drivers accounted for 32% of all traffic fatalities last year, which amounts to someone being killed every 45 minutes by a drunk driver. So yes, drunk drivers do put other people on the road in danger, but they are not the only ones putting other lives at risk on the road. According to the National Sleep Foundation, a study by researchers in Australia showed that being awake for 18 hours produced an impairment equal to a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05 and 0.10 after 24 hours, and 0.08 is considered legally drunk. An estimated 100,000 accidents happen a year, along with 1,550 deaths and 71,000 injuries occur due to sleep deprivation, based on studies from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. An article from Edgar Snyder and Associates, Statistics on Texting and Cell Phone Use While Driving, found that according to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, texting while driving kills 11 teens each day. So yes, drunk drivers do put other people on the road in danger, but they should not be sent to prison on their first offense if people who text and drive or drive sleep deprived do not risk imprisonment. Her second claim that imprisoning a drunk driver on their first offense will encourage them to not commit the same crime was not supported with any evidence or statistics to back this claim to be true. She stated that if one person is faced with imprisonment due to drunk driving, they may persuade others that it is simply not worth doing the spontaneous act and put the keys away until the alcohol wears off, and there was no evidence or statistics to support that assumption. According to MADD, over 1.2 million drivers were arrested in 2011 for driving under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. If first offense drunk drivers were sent to jail in 2011 alone, that would be 1.2 million more people to add to our already overcrowded prisons. We are too apt to put people in jail as an easy fix when there are more effective ways to deal with first offense drunk drivers. An article by CDAC states that according to MADD, once installed studies have shown that interlocks reduce repeat drunk driving offenses by an average of 64%. Interlocks are a device that prevents the vehicle from starting if the driver fails a breath test. Prison does not guarantee that a person will not commit the same offense once released. 1 in every 2 criminals leaving prison will commit another crime within 1 year of walking out the prison gates, according to Anna Leach from the Daily Mirror. In Brianna's speech, she stated that prison will teach them a lesson of the extreme dangers of driving, but statistically only half will actually learn from that lesson. Her third claim is that if a drunk driver is not imprisoned at their first offense, they will think that they can get off with a warning. This claim is exaggerated and was not provided with any evidence or statistics that would make this claim seem remotely factual. Drunk drivers are definitely not let off with just a warning. There are many repercussions that come from getting caught driving drunk. According to drivinglaws.org, the minimum for a first offense DUI is a $390 fine plus $1,000 in ordinary penalty assessments plus additional DUI only assessments for a total of approximately $1,800. And an attendance and completion of a $500 3-month alcohol treatment program is required in order to be able to drive again. According to California DUI, what are the penalties? From drivinglaws.org. Fines for DUIs range from $500 to $2,000 for their first offense. These are only a few of the penalties faced by first offense drunk drivers, and it is safe to say that they act as more than a warning. Drunk drivers do put others on the road in danger, but that is not reason enough to be imprisoned. Sending a first offense drunk driver to jail will not make first offenders any less likely to commit the same crime, and not sending a first offense drunk driver to prison is not letting them off with a warning. Thank you.
All right. I thought you did a very nice job on this. I think it was challenging to begin with. The first point, like you said, there's not really any dispute on that. There is a kind of an underlying value issue that goes here that says people deserve this, we got to be firm with them. And I thought that you, without making it a value argument per se, gave us a good standard by which we would compare. Imagine, if texting while driving or using the cell phone while driving is equal to drunk driving, and the penalties for that are not the same. Yeah, Gesundheit. The penalties for that are disproportionately not the same. We wouldn't be fixing the problem in the first place, because we'd be saying, well, it's okay to still have that behavior. It's just this one that we don't approve of. And I see the point that you're making there, and I like the comparisons, especially the evidence that talks about, texting being the equivalent of whatever it was, 1.5 BAC, or you had some information like that. Oh, it's sleep deprivation. That's what it was, the sleep deprivation. And I think that's a reasonable question to say. So, in essence, what the advocate is saying is that somebody who falls asleep deserves to go to prison. Somebody who uses their cell phone while they're driving should deserve to go to prison because they're basically committing the same offense that somebody who is driving under the effect of alcohol is committing. And that doesn't seem like it's a reasonable standard to be applying there. I thought that was a good approach to that argument. On the second argument, you challenged the lack of evidence, which I thought made a lot of sense. Also, the notion that we'd be putting 1.2 million more people into the jails and prisons every year. That's a semi-policy argument, but the advocate made a semi-policy claim that we ought to be doing those kinds of things. One of the reasons that we don't make those choices is because we have to do a cost-benefit analysis. How many lives would we save in that situation versus how much were we going to have to cost or pay to do all those kinds of things? And if you figured you were adding 1.2 million people to the jails every year or the prisons every year, that's a lot of space that you got to come up with, a lot of scratch that you got to pay for, and the consequences to people are pretty significant. I like the argument that you also have that says we've got plenty of alternatives that are more effective at reducing drunk driving, and you gave us the technical fix on that. And I also like the idea that, look, even when people do go to prison, they still come out and commit crimes again. The notion that prison is the answer to fix the problem is a myth. It doesn't fix the problem, and you're the only one who provides any evidence on that. I think you could point that out. You did say at the beginning that there wasn't any evidence on that point, but here's a good place for that contrast where you say, what evidence did the advocate provide that putting people in prison would prevent them from drunk driving again? There's no study, there's no research, there's no example, just an assumption on their part. We have proof that prison fails more than half the time for all crime, and the notion that people who drive drunk are going to be any different. I don't know if that's a different person sneezing or not, Is this your first Gesundheit?
Yeah.
Okay, Gesundheit. And stop breathing in this area, please. All right, so I really like that. I really like those arguments. I thought and the notion that they're getting away scot-free. You've got estimates about what the costs are for somebody who gets convicted there. I think you're probably on the low end of that, because I think I've heard plenty of examples from people in my classes who, in essence, say, their first time drunk driving offenses cost them more than $10,000 and their license and all kinds of hassles and ideas. So the notion that people are getting off with a slap on the wrist, I think you've got a good argument here. But I think there's even better evidence that suggests that it might be a little bit stronger than that. I liked all the choices that you made. I'm just saying, here's some things that you could do that would make it better. All right.